Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Every day is tomorrow on the show. Derek Vandegrift talking about the Ole Miss Auburn series, talking about Rebels in the minor leagues. I know the baseball season has not gone the direction you want it to, but we're going to try and figure out angles and ways to get some information out about Ole Miss baseball. And I think tomorrow we're going to look at the Rebels in the minor leagues. Like Tim Elko is just hitting bombs right now, like 7 home runs in a month down in A-ball. And I think Gray Kessinger had a 3-home run game for the AAA Sugarland Space Cowboys, the Houston Astros affiliate. So we'll talk about that tomorrow as well on the show. Right now, I do want to give our post-spring grade on the cornerback room at Ole Miss. Now, cornerbacks got hit pretty hard in the offseason. Davis Nigmanosin was a split starter with Miles Battle, and both of them have gone. They both hit the portal and gone. The other starter was DeAndre Prince. He's back. So that side of the ball is probably pretty well taken care of, if that makes sense. Now, to fill that spot that they left, Zamari Walton was recruited from Georgia Tech to come in to play the cornerback position. He's a big, tall, 6'3", rangy guy, Miles Battle type cornerback. So you figure the starting lineup is about where you need it to be. The other one that's kind of a slash player that could play safety or corner is John Saunders Jr., who played at Miami of Ohio last season. So honestly, that's 3 to play 2. So that's probably in pretty good shape. And we still don't know entirely about the status of Deshaun Gaddis. Whenever players arrive in June, it would not surprise me at all if Gaddis showed up with them, that would provide a 2 deep at the cornerback position and honestly would affect the grade. But the fact that we don't know what's going on, we'll have to see what's going on. Jarrell Stinson is in this group as well. There's a couple of corners that have been moved to safety. We'll talk about the safety position tomorrow. But 3 to play 2 is pretty good shape. It's a pretty good shape. And you look at the safety position with like Isham Young and Ladarius Tennyson and those guys, and that lets you know, okay, it could be there. Although I have honestly more questions about safety than corner at this point, even though we had 4 safeties on the field and have recruited safeties for years at an obscene rate. I have more questions about that than corner. Zamari Walton, nice upside. His ball skills and interception rate probably isn't at the level that we want it to be, but he plays a good cornerback position. He's physical, and we'll have to see what he does. DeAndre Prince is due for a Senquez Golson type breakout year. I'm expecting fairly high things from DeAndre. And John Saunders, if he plays corner, he's another one that's 6'3", 6'4". We're talking about length. And if you look in the back, there's really tall, lengthy players, like, even at safety with like Taylor Groves. But we'll see exactly how this goes. Now, it's a situation to where you want more. And everybody's going to want more because one proven returning cornerback is scary. I get that. I understand that entirely. But Zamari Walton is a good player. I saw him get a pick, I think against Virginia. John Saunders played really well against Kentucky, so that's against an SEC team. Walton has played against Georgia every year. They've been a little bit of a whipping boy to the Bulldogs. So we do have players that have played against SEC caliber teams in the past few years. So I'm interested in like Jarrell Stinson. He's a player in high school that made plays. He flashed a little bit. He was... He's going to be, I think, a sophomore or something like that this year, but he's from Alabama, so I'm interested to see what he does. I think the first play on his highlight was a super hit stick type hit, and whenever a defensive back, especially a cornerback, does that, it kind of gets my attention a little bit. But this is something you need to keep in mind, especially in this defensive backfield, and honestly, as in a little case with linebackers, because I do think safeties and linebackers and cornerbacks, that is all a fluid situation with this defense this year. Now, that Husky type role that's going to play safety, I do think like Centarian Perkins and a couple players have a chance to move back, and then you have Tennyson and you have Isham Young can move down. I don't know how that place will look. At corner, like John Saunders can play corner, but he's also at a free safety because we're trying to figure out how to replace A.J. Finley, because if you want questions, if you want scaredness, the safety position room, while there's players that can get it done because we've recruited like heck there, you still lost both starters, and A.J. Finley played a lot of ball for this team. So we'll see what happens. I think Prince and Walton and the way that the defense is going to change, it's not going to be so zone dependent this year. It's going to be some man principles. I think we'll see exactly how that goes. But, DeAndre Prince's probably highlight of his career was picking off Joe Burrow in 2019. And I think he had a couple of picks that year to where he actually flashed before he ended up having to go to JUCO for a year and come back. So we will see exactly how this goes. Again, the cornerback position, we need to find out about Deshaun Gaddis. We need to see exactly where he sits. Is he coming in June or is he not? Because he is the difference between this defense, this cornerback room being a C and being a B+, or B-. That is probably the difference of Deshaun Gaddis. He's a former all-conference player in Conference USA at North Texas. But Zamari Walton and John Saunders, they're absolutely good pickups. DeJohn Anthony, he is somebody that's probably going to get brought in and played safety. Like I said, there's questions on this team right now at safety. Probably that is the most question-filled position group on the team. Now, you're going to hear some podcasters and everybody talking and giving their analysis of it to where every position has question marks. And that's not entirely true. You might not be where you want to be, but that's not entirely true. When we talk about the safety room, we're going to talk about real questions because you have Isheem Young and Ladarius Tennyson, both of which are questionable in pass coverage as being one of your key contributors in that room. My least favorite room on Ole Miss's football team is the safety room right now. Like I said, I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm not saying that they won't do it. I'm not saying that good players are not going to be there. I'm saying there's a reason they're recruiting a bunch of safeties. Period. They're trying to get this team to where they want to be. And the reason they're recruiting Keon Coleman right now is because they had constructed this offense in a certain way, and removing that one piece probably takes it down 2 or 3 levels. So they have to recruit that piece, or else the whole thing is going to change. It turns into a crash course to figure out exactly what needs to be done. So just pay attention with that as well. Anyway, when we come back, John Gillespie of the Grove Report is going to stop by talking on Elite 11. Probably going to talk Chris Marshall. We're going to talk basketball. We're just going to have a conversation a bit. So anyway, stick around.